I really wanted to talk to you today about dating someone with ADHD. Our community asks us so many questions about dating, marriage, being in a relationship. And as I'm listening to you today, it's very evident that sometimes our issue with our partners is because of their ADHD. And if you're coming from a family where you didn't have that, now someone being late, or now someone being disorganized, or now someone overthinking kind of causes you an issue with how you like life to function. The amount of people that say to me like, oh, he just never wants to organize a trip, or, she's always late, or whatever it may be. That's very common to hear. If you're dating someone, or in your case, married to someone with ADHD, what should you be prepared for? And what should you be thinking about?
So Tana has said publicly she has ADHD. We actually did a PBS show, Healing ADD, and she talked about it. And our first date, like I had no idea she had ADD, but when she described her mom, she's classic ADHD, and Tana just thought it was an excuse to fail. Oh, this person has ADD. And then she realized her over-exercising, the pot of coffee every day, that's like, oh no, I do have this. And she's not as organized as I am, and never met a wrapper she actually wanted to throw away. And I remember being irritated about the wrapper. And then I thought I had this very interesting vision, is I saw the counter clean without her there. And I got really sad. And so I'm like, that's just not worth the fight. Throw the wrapper away. And
wow.
She's so awesome in so many ways. And she has the anxious ADD type, so she's always on time. So that's not an issue. And we hire people that organize her, and it just is fine. But if she wasn't as kind as she was, if she didn't love me, I wouldn't be with her.
Yeah.
I was with Dean Ornish. Do you know Dean Ornish?
I know the name.
He's a internist, but he's written a lot of work on diet and health. And he wrote this one book called Love and Survival. And it's one of my favorite books I ever read. And as I was with him, I was like a little kid, excited to talk to him. And because with my first wife, you can have all the ADD things, but if there's not love, it's not worth it. And I read in his book, he said there was a study from the Cleveland Clinic, and they asked 10,000 men one question: does your wife show you her love? Right. And you can interpret it any way. And I remember reading it at like 10 o'clock at night because I was reading myself to sleep. And I woke up with crushing chest pain. And I'm like, this relationship is killing me. This is so important when you're with someone. The issue is really not do they have ADD or not. It's do they fit or not? And are they willing to get help or not? Like if you date one of my kids for more than 6 months, I'm scanning you. It's just like, you're not, in my mind, you're not even dating until I see your brain.
That's amazing.
Because if you have ADD or you played football and you have concussions, I want you to be serious about taking care of it.
Yeah.
Right?
So wait, they come over to dinner, you press a button, the wall opens up, there's like this surgical
I send them to the clinic.
No, I thought you might have an undercover clinic, like a bat cave in your house, and like you just, that.
Sort of like the movie Meet the Parents.
Yeah, exactly. That's brilliant. I've heard a lot of people say to me, and I love your example that you just gave about the rapper, because I think I've had friends who've gone through that where they're like, I believe you love me, but I just feel like you don't care because you aren't on time, because you don't do the dishes. But then you do it sometimes. You do it when it suits you, or you do it for your friends, but not me.
Because they have more dopamine.
Right. So yeah, talk to me about that, because you could see your partner who's like able to organize dinner for your friends, but then when it comes to you, they can't set a date.
In a way, it almost sounds like they're pushing on a wound. And one of the things I learned, and I actually learned it from Tana, she grew up in a crazy home. So her ACE score, do you know the ACE, Adverse Childhood Experiences? So on a scale of 0 to 10, how many bad things happened to you as a kid. And if you have 4 or more, it's like physical, emotional, sexual abuse, neglect, watching your mother being abused, being raised with someone who goes to jail, has a mental illness and addiction. So if you have 4 or more, you have an increased risk of 7 of the top 10 leading causes of death. If you have 6 or more, you die 20 years earlier. 10 is an 8. And we adopted both of our nieces who were 9s. And when you see untreated ADD, you see it throughout both of their families, right? Untreated ADD can go with trauma. And her earliest memory, or one of them, is her mom and grandmother falling to the floor because her uncle was murdered in a drug deal gone wrong. And so it was because her other uncle was involved in the drug deal. So anyways, he goes to jail, gets clean, and she goes to a seminar. She had thyroid cancer in her 20s. So chronic stress from untreated ADD and childhood trauma increases your cancer risk. So she gets cancer when she's 25. She goes to Hawaii. He's teaching a seminar for Jack Canfield. And he asks her, how much responsibility do you want for your station in life right now? And she goes, I have cancer. It's not my fault. He goes, I didn't ask you about fault. I asked you about responsibility, which is just your ability to respond to the situation. And in that moment, she got clarity. It's like, I want 100% responsibility. And often when I'm with Tana, if we're fussing, which is very rare for us, I'm like, what can I do to make this better? Because as soon as I go, you're not doing this and you're not doing that, I think it's touching on a wound I have. But I want to be powerful. And being powerful is, so what can I do to make this better? Because I know, and I ask all my patients this, I'm like they're fighting with their wife. And I'm like, or their mom. I'm like, so what do you do to make your mom crazy? And they're like, what? Because they expect me to just listen and buy into the bullshit. And I'm like, so what do you do to make your mom crazy? Oh, what do you do that makes your wife yell at you? And I do that purposefully because the next question is, what do you do to make your mom smile? Mm. And I know if I become condescending, if I become critical, if I notice what's wrong, I'm not going to get back what I want. Mm. And I collect penguins. Did I ever tell you why I collect penguins?
No.
It's crazy, actually.
It's good to know.
I have like 1,000 of them. And I live my life with why I collect penguins. So I adopted 3 of my kids. My oldest was hard for me, argumentative, oppositional. So he has the over-focused ADD, like classic. And I was in training at the time to be a child psychiatrist. And I went to my mentor and I'm like, I am not having any fun as a dad. So he was the first child I had. And she goes, you need to spend more time with him. And so I took him to a place called Sea Life Park, mm-hmm. which is in Hawaii. It's like SeaWorld mm-hmm. or Marine World, Northern California. And we had a great day. I took him to the whale show and that was fun, and the dolphins and the sea lions. And at the end of the day, he grabs my shirt and he goes, I want to see Fat Freddy. And I'm like, who's Fat Freddy? He's like, it's a penguin, Dad. Don't you know anything? And that was our, interactions. And so at the end of the day, I went to the last show, the Fat Freddy show. He's a tiny, humble penguin, chubby, Fat Freddy. And he comes out onto the stage, climbs the ladder to a high dive, goes to the end of the board, bounces and jumps in the water. And I'm like, whoa. And he gets out, bowls with his nose, counts with his flipper, jumps through a hoop of fire. And I'm just mesmerized by this little bird. And then at the end of the show, the trainer asked Freddie to go get something. And he went and got it and brought it right back. And in my mind, I went, damn, I asked this kid to get something for me. He wants to have a discussion for like 20 minutes and then he doesn't want to do it. I knew my son was smarter than the penguin. So I went up to the trainer and I said, how'd you get Freddie to do all these really cool things? And she said, unlike parents. She looked at my son and then looked at me. She said, unlike parents, whenever Freddie does anything like what I want him to do, I notice him. I give him a hug and I give him a fish. And even though my son didn't like raw fish, would have totally worked with my daughter, Chloe. She loved sushi from the time she was 6 months old. I realized that whenever he did what I wanted him to do, I didn't pay any attention to him at all because I was busy. But when he didn't do what I wanted him to do, I gave him a ton of attention because I didn't want to raise bad kids. So I was inadvertently teaching him to be bad in order to get my attention.
Wow.
So I collect penguins as a way to remind myself, notice what you like more than what you don't. Notice what you like more than what you don't. And so if you're only noticing what you don't like, well, if you're with a partner who has ADD, that's the story of their life, that people have noticed what they haven't liked. If you love someone, and I love my kids that have ADD, and I love my wife, notice what you like. It feeds.
So, and watch, you can search Dr. Daniel Amen and Jay Shetty or Dr. Daniel Amen on purpose. And any last words, Dr. Daniel Amen, anything you wanted to share that I didn't ask you about or anything that is on your mind or heart right now?
I'm just so grateful for you. You know, I love the idea that we can train our brains that focus on what you want way more than what you don't want.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. If you love this episode,